Dr. Kenyon and Son strongly recommends that this videotape on safety and housekeeping be required viewing by all personnel working on the Kenyon tenor frame, such as operators, electricians, maintenance personnel, machine cleaners, and those involved in the recipe maintenance and security features of the computer. And of course, supervisors and appropriate managers working with the Kenyon tenor frame. Kenyon dryers are designed to meet all the requirements of the Occupational Health and Safety Act and are approved by the underwriter laboratories and industrial risk insurers. In addition to these features, personnel working around mechanical and/or electrical equipment should always use caution and common sense. We are going to review many of the Dr. Kenyon tenor frame safety features, safe work practices, and housekeeping requirements. Dr. Kenyon and Son and your company want you to work safely. From the entry end to the exit end of the tenor frame and dryer, Kenyon has built-in safety devices, conveniently located emergency stop buttons, and pull cables, as well as the normal stop buttons, and even painted many of the machine parts yellow to visually warn and remind you of potential hazards and safe work practices. Personnel must never enter the entry end or exit end of the frame while the frame is running. There are pinch points too numerous to enumerate. There are other hazards from the moving equipment: the exposed pins on the pin chain, and the exposed blades of the selvage removal knives, just to mention a few. Do not take chances. There is absolutely no reason for anyone to go into these areas while the machine is running. Before working on any mechanical or electrical portion of this machine, you must first lock out and tag out the main power source located on the electrical enclosures cabinet. Gear enclosure doors may be opened while the machine is running for visual inspection only. Never place your hands inside a gear enclosure until first the main power source has been locked out and tagged out. No maintenance is to be performed inside the gear enclosures while the power is on. And never enter the dryer without first locking out and tagging out the main power source. Never reach your hand or arm between any rollers while the machine is on. An emergency stop button should also be depressed before beginning the fabric thread up. We want you to work safely. To lock out and tag out the main power source, go to the electrical enclosures cabinet while the machine is in a stopped mode. Pull down on the handle, moving it from the on position to the off position. You can now apply your lockout and tag out device to the handle. Each person working on the machine will then place his or her own lock on the lockout tagout device. Lock it, remove the key, and take the key with him or herself. Once the individual has completed their work on the machine, they will unlock and remove their lock from the lockout tagout device. Once all locks have been removed from the device, it then can be removed from the power handle. When it is time to restore the power to the machine, push the handle back up to the on position. Should one or more doors to the electrical enclosures cabinet not be fully closed and latched, it will not be possible to move the power handle to the on position. Only after closing and latching of all these doors may you restore power to the machine. This is another built-in safety feature of the Kenyon tenor frame. Again, never enter dangerous areas. Perform any maintenance or cleaning task on any moving part of the tenor frame or dryer without first locking out and tagging out the main power source. This holds true for any work being done on any of the pre-entry or exit-in machines in line with the Kenyon tenor frame. All electrical repairs are to be done by qualified electricians only. When an electrician is working inside the electrical enclosure cabinets, he or she knows that they are never to bypass any electrical safety. The electrical safeties are there for your protection. When the electrician has completed his or her work inside the electrical enclosures cabinet, they must be sure that the door handles are latched. This will help prevent access to a dangerous area by the curious and untrained. Whereas a given electrical charge may be just a very unpleasant experience for one person, it may be sufficient to permanently stop the heart of another. Don't take chances. It's just not worth it. Remember to first stop the machine before turning off the main power supply. The normal stop button should be used for normal or routine stops. They will slowly bring the running machine to a complete control stop. Emergency buttons and cables should be used for true emergencies only. An emergency stop will abruptly stop the machine, and unnecessary frequent use of the emergency stops may cause damage to the equipment. It is next to impossible to safely produce a first quality fabric in a dirty, cluttered work area from a poorly kept machine. Good housekeeping is essential. Never allow trash to accumulate on the machine, inside the machine, on top of the machine, or on the floor in the work area. Sweep it up and place it in an approved receptacle. Prior to the thread up of fabric on the machine, clean all rollers of lint and any dye or finish residue deposited on the rolls. Care must be taken when filling the pin chain oil reservoir. Do not overfill or allow the oil to otherwise spill on the floor. If it does, get it up immediately. Check the pin chain to see that the proper amount of oil is being applied to it. Too little oil will cause undue wear to the pin chain, and too much may cause dripping onto the floor, or some of the excess may end up on the fabric. You must also be cautious when greasing fittings. Excess grease can also end up on the floor or fabric. In the event your dryer uses a thermal fluid heat source, routinely check for leaks and, however minor, report them to your supervisor or maintenance personnel. Oil or grease on the floor is an accident waiting to happen. Get it up right away. Protect yourself and others. Where possible, identify the source of the spill and take corrective measures to prevent it from happening again. Should you ever detect the odor of gas, Immediately stop the machine using an emergency stop button. Turn the run shutdown button to shut down. This will allow the circulation and exhaust fans to continue running, thus evacuating the gas from the dryer. There are individual gas shutoff valves to each burner. However, you should shut off the main gas intake line valve and report the problem to your supervisor or maintenance personnel at once. The location of the main gas intake line valve differs from plant to plant, but everyone involved with the Kenyon tunnel frame should be shown its location and how to turn the valve off. When threading the fabric onto the pins of the pin chain, use caution. The pins are needle point sharp and can easily prick your fingers. Also, avoid placing your hands in any pinch point hazard. Special care should be used when initially threading the fabric into the pin-on area, or replacing the fabric onto the pin chain after a mispin. Should your frame have hinged covers for the pin-on chain, one of the many Kenyon options, always keep them closed whether the machine is running or stopped. They're opened only to replace fabric on the pins after a mispin has occurred. Remember too that the pin chains and pin chain rails may be hot to the touch, since they are affected by the heat in the dryer. When entering the dryer for cleaning purposes or to perform any maintenance, you must first lock out and tag out the main power source, as we have said before. You must also wear your personal protective gear, such as gloves, face mask, and goggles. You should also know that wearing loose-fitting clothing around machinery is dangerous, and hair that is shoulder length or longer should be tied back or in a hairnet. Don't let your hair get caught in moving parts of the machine. Doors on gas-heated dryers are equipped with safety chains, which must be latched before starting the burners. These chains prevent the dryer door from being blown all the way open in the event of a pressure buildup and release. These are personnel safety doors. That is, even though they form an air seal when closed, and even with the chains latched, anyone inside the dryer can push the door open from the inside and remove the chain, allowing an easy exit from the dryer. All of the doors have an industrial high-temperature fiberglass seal around the entire door edge. And as with any other worn or broken part on the machine, you should report torn or worn door seals for replacement. Just like the lint filter on your home clothes dryer, the filters or screens on the Kenyon dryer must be periodically cleaned for the dryer to perform as efficiently as it is designed to. Kenyon recommends the use of vacuums to clean screens, ducts, and nozzles. Some manufacturing plants use air guns. Should you use an air gun, you must never turn it toward yourself or anyone else. Air guns are not toys. They are working tools and are not to be played with. Worn or difficult to clean screens should be removed and replaced. When inside the dryer cleaning the ducts and nozzles, you should also clean the top fans, bottom fans, the exhaust fans, and exhaust ducts. Always clean the width screw chain and sprocket, and the width sensor and its cable, and any other sensors which you may have inside your dryer, such as this mispin sensor at the turnaround drum on a multiple pass dryer. Fabric temperature sensors or sensors of other optional devices. The copper tubes to the airflow sensors must be wiped clean and any tube crimps reported. On dryers that use thermal fluid as their heat source, you must remove the lint from the thermal fluid pipe fins to enhance the heat exchange with the air being blown across the fins. Most dryers are heated by gas burners, which must be kept clean as a part of normal cleaning cycles or maintenance schedules. All deposits must be removed from the gas ports, the ignition plug, heat sensors, and the surface of the burner. Lint should never be allowed to build up anywhere inside the dryer, even on the floor. Sweep up and remove all lint waste and fabric strings and place in an approved receptacle. All width screws inside and outside the dryer must be kept free of lint and fabric strings to prevent jamming at the nuts. Jamming at the nuts will cause the width controls to malfunction. We have mentioned cleaning the screens inside the dryer. In addition, there are other screens outside the dryer which you also need to keep free of lint for proper airflow to take place. Air conditioning screens on each end and the top of the electrical enclosures cabinets, the front gear enclosure cabinet and the rear gear enclosure cabinet, the front operator's console, the rear operator's console, and the screens on the optional freestanding air cooler. There may be one or two screens on this air cooler depending on the fabric width. The ducts and nozzles of the cooler should also be periodically cleaned. Also clean the lint from all motors. Frequency of cleaning is dependent upon the types of fabric being run, and therefore is best determined by local management. If assistance is needed, feel free to contact your Kenyon representative. Cleaning the pin chain is done by a wire brush system or an optional steam cleaner. In either case, cleaning can best be done while fabric is off of the machine. To clean the pin chain, remove the fabric. Use the normal stop button to stop the machine. Position the cleaner. Turn the cleaner toggle switch to on and immediately start the machine running. When the cleaning is completed, turn the toggle switch to off. Use the normal stop button to stop the machine and move the cleaner away from the pin chain. Sweep up any waste and put it in an approved receptacle. While the fabric is removed from the frame for pin chain cleaning, it's an ideal time to clean the entry fabric support conveyor belts. Wipe all belts to remove lint and any dyes and other fabric treatment deposits. As part of the pin chain cleaning cycle, you should check all pin plates and replace broken ones, and tighten, if necessary, any loose pin plates. Naturally, broken pin plates should be replaced as soon as possible during normal operations. When cleaning any sensor such as a missed pin sensor, a proximity sensor, the width smart eye sensor, or door closure sensors, or any sensor for other optional devices, first wipe clean with a soft rag. Then clean with a soft rag which has been dampened with your cleaner. These sensors can function best when they can see clearly. The dirtier a sensor becomes, the less accurate its readings become. To clean a computer screen or the TV screen, we must first turn that screen off. Next, wipe the screen with a dry, soft rag to remove most of the surface lint and dirt. Then use a water-dampened soft rag to clean the screen. Use the dry soft rag to dry the screen before turning it back on. Never use a commercial cleaner to clean the computer screen or the TV screen. Because of its location, it is easy to forget the TV camera. Its lens will need to be cleaned periodically too. This time we must use a commercial product, a lens cleaning paper, such as produced by Kodak. Any other means of cleaning the camera lens may result in scratching the lens coating or the lens itself. We do use a water-dampened soft rag to clean the camera housing. When cleaning the air hoses to the pin chain tension devices or the pin chain oiling system, be sure to check for and report any leaks in the air lines to your supervisor or maintenance personnel. Do not permit the water level in the water separator bowls on the air lines to the pin chain tension device or the pin chain oiler to become too full. Leave the air pressure handle in the on position to allow the air to force the water out of the container once the cap on the bottom of the bowl has been turned open. Also keep the air line's oil container at least half full. A small amount of this oil is drawn into the air pressure line and serves as a lubricant to the oiler on the pin chain and the pin chain tension device. Should any oil drop onto the floor during the filling process, wipe it up immediately. When you have optional steam systems on your machine, you must first shut off the incoming steam line and bleed the pressure from the remaining system prior to performing any service to the system. Although steam lines should be insulated, Kenyon recommends that you wear protective gloves when making adjustments to the steamer width or performing any service to the steam system. Report any steam leaks to your supervisor or maintenance personnel. Avoid being scalded. Good housekeeping includes the removal of lint waste and fabric strings from the optional selvage gumming system tank in order to allow a uniform delivery of gum to the selvage. After use, the remaining gum should be removed from the tank or bucket and the system flushed out with an appropriate solution. The gumming wheels must also be cleaned along with the removal of any gum residue on the system or the machine and floor. Anytime you're working around the selvage removal knives, be extremely cautious. Common sense tells us that if the knives are sharp enough to cut fabric, they are indeed sharp enough to cut flesh. Never attempt to sharpen a knife blade on the machine. Dull blades must be removed from the machine and taken to the maintenance area and sharpened there. Other safety features include the microphone and speakers and the TV. Learn to use them effectively. Never start or stop the machine without first communicating your intentions with the operator at the other end of the machine. The one exception would be the use of an emergency stop. When it's necessary to use an emergency stop, do it, and then talk about it. Stay aware of what's happening at the rear of the machine by observing the TV screen. Frequent use of this unit will increase the probability of a safer workday and teamwork. Should you ever have any questions about safe work practices, housekeeping, or anything else related to the DR Kenyon & Son tonneau frame, you should contact your Kenyon representative. Kenyon is committed to assisting you in the safe, efficient, and cost-effective production of first-quality fabric from its tonneau frame. As we have said before, Kenyon has placed safety guards around certain moving parts, painted sections of the equipment yellow as a safety caution, engineered built-in safety devices for the mechanical operation and electrical operation of the machine. But one of the key factors to a safe operation is your personal commitment to safety. Follow the plant safety rules, study the job safety analysis, and use caution and common sense when doing your job.